Order for me the Prince and Ponsa, the don't want to say from Grassroot Captain. Abusuya say oko YouTube channel no so a message say Grassroot TV kai na subscribe share na comment order for me that was it so oko YouTube channel so obe follow Grassroot TV me that was
it is now time for us to hear from the gift of the occasion, the President of our Republic, who has made his voice known countlessly on how he wants Ghana to be the leader in terms of trade and commerce in Africa. Rendering his speech to us this day is Ghana's Minister for Information. Make welcome the Honorable Kojo Nkrumah, MP.
Members of the Council of State, Minister responsible for Trades and Industry, Honorable Ministers and Deputy Ministers, Chairman and members of Parliament's Committee on Trade, Chief Executives and heads of departments, agencies and allied institutions, Chairpersons and Chief Executives of private sector companies, distinguished guests, former Special Representative of the Secretary General and Head of the UN Office for West Africa and the Sahel, Dr. Mohamed Ibn Chambers. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. First, let me express the President's regrets for his inability to be here in person for this very important occasion. It clashes with other engagements of his, but he's asked me to share with you his thoughts on a day like this. At the extraordinary summit of African Union heads of state in the capital city of Rwanda in March 2018, President Akufo-Addo joined 54 of his colleague heads of state to sign the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. That historic event signaled to the global community, particularly the private sector operators in Africa, that the continent is ready to usher in a new age of economic integration anchored on improving intra-African trade through the removal of barriers to cross-border trade and the dismantling of tariffs. Following that historic event in Kigali, the African Union Commission, working in close collaboration with the AU Council of Ministers of Trade, has achieved significant milestones in operationalizing the AfCFTA agreement, which include the launch of the operational phase of the AfCFTA in Niamey, Niger in July 2019, the establishment of the AfCFTA Secretariat with Accra as the host capital in August 2020, and the launch of start of trading under the AfCFTA in January 2021. In addition to the above, 43 member states have currently ratified the AfCFTA agreement and deposited their instrument of ratification with the AfCFTA Secretariat, while provisional schedules of tariff concessions of 29 countries have been verified and accepted for trade in goods. This trajectory of events should inform member states of the readiness of Africa to harness the full benefits of economic integration. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the President is happy to be part of today's launch of the National AfCFTA Policy Framework and Action Plan for boosting Ghana's trade with Africa. This launch clearly indicates that the government of Ghana is continuously positioning the private sector operators in Ghana to trade under the AfCFTA agreement. The National AfCFTA Policy Framework and Action Plan is geared towards the harmonization of relevant policies, programs, laws, and regulations to boost the productive capacities of the private sector in Ghana, particularly the MSMEs, to harness the full benefits of the AfCFTA. A successful implementation of the action plan will boost the capacities of the Ghanaian private sector to take advantage of market access opportunities in Africa to promote made-in-Ghana goods and services. The Ministry of Trade and Industry, under your leadership, Minister Chairman Ting, has led the establishment of the relevant structures for the implementation of the various AfCFTA protocols in Ghana. This includes the establishment of the National AfCFTA Coordinating Office with the responsibility to coordinate the implementation of Ghana's AfCFTA strategy. And colleagues, at this point, let me ask you to join me to applaud the ministry and the agencies for the work done so far. Honorable Ministers, ladies and gentlemen, it is significant to note that our national AfCFTA policy framework and action plan was derived from the work of the national structures put in place by the Ministry of Trade and Industry to advance our national interest in the continental project. They include the Interministerial Committee, the National Steering Committee on the AfCFTA, and the technical working groups on boosting trade with Africa. Honorable Minister for Trade and Industry, the President has asked me to commend the extensive technical work undertaken by these committees, especially the 7 technical working groups comprising representatives from the private sector, senior government officials, and other technical experts. Excellencies, Honorable Ministers, ladies and gentlemen, as you are aware, African countries cannot overcome the current economic challenges occasioned by the incidents of the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine war if we do not develop measures to improve the productive capacities of the private sector and increase intra-African trade. The effective operationalization of the AfCFTA agreement in Ghana would significantly boost Ghana's balance of trade, stimulate investment and innovation, diversify exports, improve food security, foster structural transformation, enhance economic growth, and above all, provide jobs for the Ghanaian youth. To the Ministry of Trade and Industry and the Ghana Coordinating Office of the AfCFTA, this framework, as brilliantly as it is structured, will not mean much if you do not implement the programs under it with speed, effectiveness, and commitment. It is your successful implementation of the programs under this framework that matters, and which will ensure that thousands of Ghanaian businesses can ride on it and export significantly into the African continent, thereby boosting local economic activity, our growth, jobs, and earnings. So go at it, and don't be held back by the hurdles that may come your way. To the Ghanaian private sector, your government is working through this and other initiatives to make it relatively easier for you to get access to this large market in Africa so that you can trade more goods and services out. Yours is to take advantage of it and collaborate with us to resolve any teething challenges that may come up. But no matter the nature of the challenges, be resolved to work with us hand in hand to make this work. It is in our national interest to not take this window of opportunity lightly. In conclusion, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, let me reiterate Mr. President's pledge to mobilize the required financial and technical resources to assist Ghanaian businesses to take full advantage of the AfCFTA. It is the pleasure of His Excellency the President to declare the National AfCFTA Policy Framework and Action Plan for Boosting Trade in Africa duly launched.
For me the Prince Amponsa, the don't want to say from Grassroot Captain. Abusuya say oko YouTube channel no so a mesra say Grassroot TV kai na subscribe, share na comment. Order for me that was it. So oko YouTube channel so follow Grassroot TV. Me that was it.